I'm sorry guys, you read the title, you know what's coming, but someone has to say it, alright? And if I have to be the one to bite the bullet, I will. It turns out that the Super Mario Bros. Movie is not so super after all. Yeah, I know. But look, there's good reasons behind this take, and, you know, even if you don't agree with me by the end of the video, you can at least see where I'm coming from, I hope. Now, before I dive into the meat and potatoes, I'd just like to bring something to your attention real quick. According to my analytics, 98.9% of people watching my videos aren't subscribed. Bruh, that's insane. On this channel I mainly discuss movies and films, with the occasional episode of Quality Corner where I ramble and review the games I've been playing. If you like that sort of thing, you should subscribe to my channel to receive all of my quality content right in your feed. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So originally I wasn't going to see the movie in cinemas, I just wasn't interested to be honest, but one of my friends invited me to see it with him, and you know, I like going to the cinema, so I agreed. I travelled to Cineworld, paid a whopping £12 for the ticket, went to screen 2, came out having a decent time, but ultimately recognising that the movie was about as mid as you can possibly get. A pretty unanimous criticism even fans of the movie have to concede is the crappy pacing. This movie just flies by with no time to slow down and take in the setting, atmosphere, or characters. There are multiple jarring scenes that if they were allowed to play out longer, would have been a lot better. Later on in the movie, Peach tells Toad to evacuate with the other Toads. He says no, and she just immediately concedes and is like, yeah, okay. You can come along then. What was the point of even bringing that up if she wasn't going to argue or reason with him? On top of that, this movie has inconsistencies aplenty, refusing to follow its own established rules. For instance, when Mario first arrives in the Mushroom Kingdom, it's established that to get to the castle, you need to go up this tall, intricate platforming sequence filled with pipes, obstacles, you know, that sort of thing. However, later on in the movie, we see Peach driving back to the Mushroom Kingdom on a motorcycle, and it just cuts to her arriving in front of the castle with a bike, like, huh? How did she get there? Did she just drive up the wall Ghost Rider style? If so, I mean, I would have liked to see that, but whatever. I guess that's just a thing. Even more egregious is the ending. Again, spoiler warning for people who haven't seen the movie, though let's be honest, there's not really much to spoil, is there? Crap story short, Mario and Luigi save the day, defeating Bowser in Brooklyn, and all the citizens of Brooklyn celebrate, seemingly unfazed by the number of WTF things that they just saw take place right in front of their eyes. After all that, we cut to Mario and Luigi getting ready to spend their day in the Mushroom Kingdom? And then blam, the movie ends. Cue the credits. Why would Mario and Luigi move to the Mushroom Kingdom when they just got famous in the real world? That's like me becoming the most loved man in the UK and then moving to India tomorrow. But with that aside, one of the moral conundrums this movie presents and barely touches upon, a prominent trend in this movie I'll get into more later, is Mario and Luigi's desire to be loved and appreciated by others and the people they're surrounded by. That's why they went independent and created their own plumbing business, with their own flashy uniform and all, so they could stand out amongst their competitors and be a successful business. That's why Mario feels so disheartened after his family rags on him for going independent and quitting his stable income job. Heck, the motivation to earn the respect of their peers is the whole reason the brothers ended up going through the warp pipe in the first place. They set out in the middle of the night to fix a huge flood, and by doing so it would earn them praise and notoriety. Given all of this, it makes no sense as to why the brothers would move to the Mushroom Kingdom. I mean, come on, I can't be the only one thinking this. Listen, I could spend all day pointing out inconsistencies, contrivances, or unexplained plot points, like the Toads randomly crowning Peach the princess of the Mushroom Kingdom for no reason, but none of these make or break the movie. Honestly, I could overlook most of these issues if it weren't for one major problem with this movie that no one seems to bring up, and that's the fact that it's literally the embodiment of like bland corporate sanitized mediocrity. I know that sounds pretty vague, but let me elaborate. This movie feels like Space Jam 2 for Nintendo fans. Only I remember Space Jam 2 being widely shat on by people for being bland, dull, and basically a 2-hour long advertisement. But not the Mario movie, even though it suffers from the same faults. Most notably the sacrifice of character development, meaningful subtext, and narrative themes for cameos, Easter eggs, and like epic funny moments. Seriously though, the Mario movie has like numerous complex and character moments that are briefly touched on and never mentioned again, or concluded whatsoever. Like when Mario and DK find some common ground on their shared struggle when it comes to winning their father's approval. No, we can't have that be developed at all because it has to be interrupted for an epic funny moment, and it's never brought up again. I guess it's okay to fangasm over Diddy Kong, go-karts and blue shells, but it's bad to fangasm over Hong Kong and the Iron Giant fist bumping. If you need more evidence of corporate sanitization, look no further than the casting choice. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that the people voicing the various characters are bad actors. Far from it. But they're exactly that. Actors. You damn well know Chris Pratt, Jack Black and Seth Rogen weren't selected for their ability and skill at playing Mario, Bowser and Donkey Kong respectively. They were picked along with the rest of the main cast for their iconography and celeb status. This isn't even far-fetched for me to say, like, Hollywood does this with big blockbusters all the time. Just look at the remakes of Lion King and Aladdin. Dull reimaginings of the original Disney classics that sap the very life and soul out of both stories. Yeah, when I think of Zazu, John Oliver is the first that comes to mind. When I think of the genie, who else but Will Smith? I mean, come on. Honestly? Fuck this Hollywood BS, like, I'm sick of it. I don't want to be a negative Nancy and all that. I mean, I know people enjoyed it, but again, I'm sorry to say this, but like, the new Super Mario Bros. Movie is it goes right in that same camp of like mid to horrible, soulless Hollywood blockbusters. That pretty much summarizes my thoughts on the movie. I know I've come off overwhelmingly negative in this video, and for good reason in my opinion, but it is precisely that, an opinion. If you liked the movie, that's awesome. Good for you! I mean, my mate liked it too. And you know, I mean, there are some admittedly cool moments in it. Like during the opening scene in Brooklyn when there's this whole 3D and 2D animated sequence which looks really cool. Kind of like playing off that old classic 2D Mario sort of look. Plus even I, a Super Mario layman, was able to recognise some of the cool remixes of classic Mario music in the movie soundtrack, which is pretty neat, not gonna lie. But speaking of music, unfortunately it's ruined because they feel the need to shove in licensed music, even when they have those awesome original remixes I just mentioned. The worst offender being that stupid, "We can be heroes." It's almost as bad as Mariah Carey whenever I hear it. Almost. But regardless, as I said, the remixes were nice. I'm just saying that the movie as a whole is mediocre, soulless corporate schlock. That's just not going to hold up in the future. After you leave the cinema, your takeaway isn't going to be, wow, the relationship between Mario and Peach was really well done. Or, dude, the conflict between Mario and Bowser was so convincing. It's gonna be, yo, did you see that Mario was playing Kid Icarus? That was a pretty cool Easter egg, wasn't it? Yo, dude, did you see when Mario was like riding his cart on like the Rainbow Road and stuff? That was pretty dope, not gonna lie. In an ideal world, it would be both. You know what I mean? Before I end this video, I'd like to talk about the beyond stupid response to the criticism of this movie from dogmatic brand-obsessed fans. As per usual, the critics tended to be a lot more critical of the film compared to the audience. No surprise there, right? Well, people's reaction to their critiques and review scores have been incredibly childish to say the least. I've seen tweets and responses to Mario receiving critiques saying that every detractor of the movie hates fun, which makes no sense. You can have a fun movie with good characters, writing and storytelling. Those aren't mutually exclusive. Wall-E, The Incredibles, Coraline, I could go all day. Those three are prime examples of that off the top of my head. I've also seen people giving the dumbass, you know, stock response of, bruh, it's just a kids movie, it don't even matter. Man, I hate that argument. Just because you're making a movie aimed towards kids doesn't mean you can half-ass storytelling and narrative. That's not an excuse. Look at all the movies I just mentioned. All kids movies and they're all legendary. Kids deserve better. They deserve good examples of media to grow up with. Not just bland movie schlock, weird mobile ads or Cocomelon. But worst of all is the abhorrent takes on review scores. As of every damn movie that comes out where there's a divide between audiences and critics, you have people proclaiming that review scores don't matter, the critics were so based on this one. Or in Mario's case, come on guys, review scores don't matter, the critics are full of crap. It's like, dude, if scores truly don't matter, then why are you so hung up about how much it gets on freaking Rotten Tomatoes? Also, I'm just so over this stupid ass inane argument that audience scores are the only metric that matters. Like, it's so dumb. And I know people in real life that tout this take too. It's infuriating. Can you imagine the nightmare world where audiences are the only people that could review media? And critics were completely taken out of the equation? Oh my god, that would be so dystopian. I mean, Space Jam 2, which I mentioned earlier, audiences gave a beyond generous 79%, which was really surprising to me. I had no idea they rated that turd so highly. Did anyone remember Warcraft? No? Me neither. It was so boring I can't even recall one scene from it, but somehow audiences gave it 76%. So yeah. I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. I'm not saying that critics are more correct than audiences, or their opinions should be held in a higher regard. I think their super harsh rating of Godzilla King of the Monsters and their super duper freaking generous rating of The Last Jedi is proof of that, my god. What I'm saying is that critics and audiences are both wrong. And they're both right. Neither takes precedence over the other. Ultimately it comes down to you to decide. So there's no use in getting ultra worked up over arbitrary ratings. I know it's tempting to get up in arms about, you know, bad ratings or ratings you disagree with. I mean, I've done it too. But at the same time, you can't just disregard that whole sector and equation of reviews. Both the audiences and critics matter. It's precisely because of that divide that we need both of them. So we can look at both and make a decision for ourselves on whether we actually want to see it or whether it be, you know, something we would actually want to check out. That's pretty much everything I have to say about this movie, as well as its critical reception and response. Like if you liked, dislike if you disliked, subscribe for more quality content, and I'll see you guys next time.
Have some more chicken. Have some more. Now I'm getting paid cash with Atlas Earth. Yeah, virtual land all across the globe. Across the globe. The next wave is digital, catch me on the way up. The glow up is visible, couple more. Watch mine gon' go up, it's about to go nuts. It's about to go nuts.